Hello, welcome to my first presentation for discussing some things about balancing development and research. And today's main topic is about being agile the right way. This is just a small version of the detailed, conceptualized, thoroughly article I have written in my blog post. So let me start and talk about this. So first of all, uh, I have here some notes so I can reference. Let me tell you on one of my workplace environments, the problems I had. So the first thing is uh, on one of my workplace environments, I had to test some modules that I had no ownership of. They were outsourced to another company, and our company workplace we followed an agile methodology. But in my opinion, that methodology was too agile. Yeah, there was like a lot of pressure with customers pushing people, to bring deliverables on time. And I think that pressure made our development community not really have the time to understand the source code. And that was very obvious to me because every time I did black box testing, there was an issue with one of the combination of the future, with one of the combination of getting the same result in the program, and every time for like a series of months, and it was never fixed. The problem with agile methodology is if you don't understand the source code, then you will create a testing environment that it is impossible to test, because after so many black box testing of an agile methodology as opposed to a waterfall methodology, giving a lot of features and combinations, making a chaotic environment makes as opposed to waterfall methodology a very hard way to test things out. And if you don't even have a small space to do white test boxing, black box testing is an unfeasible task. So that when at some point, there was a lot of blame game for the testers for not doing their job right. But in my opinion, it was the developers who did not understand the source code. Even if they were a senior status and they really knew the stuff and were working in many other high-level tech corporations, I still feel that they had the accountability, which they never took account for, to have some ownership of understanding the code, some ownership of testing, where if the tester does black box testing 5 times and it's wrong, then the blame should go instead to the developer, and the developer instead should do the testing. And that was, I tried to communicate this to a whole email or something, but the thing is, from the background as I listened, the outsourced company that we hired, it was more like a hierarchical, a too structured silo in communicating things. Like there was a lot of blame game without any real reasoning on those things. So that's at one point, they could not handle anything. So on the task stuff, and and the communication with the development of the outsourced team with us started to halt, less respect. And instead, we were talking all the stuff with the leader of the outsourced team, which has more people skills. So at the sacrifice of, not handling the task or the technical depth, we just try to handle, which is a big tension, we try to handle it by putting patches or working overnight, by fixing the business depth, by talking to the leader. And that may felt like a positive thing for our develop for us communicating to the outsourced team, but that is really a spell for disaster. What happened in the end was that's what I learned, is that that company does not work with that outsourced team anymore, and that's really, when you are too agile, it really fails. Now, Then I went to another workplace environment where they were in a transition company that they found out that True Agile does not work. It was ugly. So a fix for that was setting up a bureaucratic and hierarchical system, and the notion was to try to understand the whole thing. Which I think this is like the other opposite edge of the waterfall methodology. If you try to understand everything, then you cannot really be good at understanding something that you can expand broadly to your client needs. You should only understand what you really need, that really exponentially grows the customer needs with while making the less technical depth as possible. And and at the same point, there was a lot of hierarchy in place. There was no more enforcing of remote working. There was less use of the technological social tools like Kanban or Scrum, and there was more enforcement of face-to-face, non-verbal communication showing authority. It's like those medical or companies, even in the United States currently, that what they do is they just show social status to embrace, everything to be, regulated. And the economy has shown again and again that that does not really work in an economic environment, especially for the long term. So the point is, they should start being again a flat hierarchical organization, but at the same time put some rules where they listen, where well, while listening to the customers, they can handle technical depth and understand, you know, have ownership on those stuff. Tell them you have ownership and you have to understand the source code. And if a technical debt comes, revoke their access of respect of giving them authority anymore, and they can only gain it back after they can fix that technical debt. It's that simple, because uh, because we want them, as long as they don't produce technical debt, to have the freedom to do whatever they want in order, to bring business needs. A lot of business needs that other can outcompete us if we don't create a lot of business needs. It cannot work in a hierarchical way. We will create less business needs, and we will cut short, especially from a main pipeline, or that it is required to keep pace with the competitive environment we live in. So the main point is, while also doing that, you have to really, care about the people. You have to keep that environment agile where everybody is engaging, trust, and communicate each other. That cannot be happen if your feedback of, they don't handle the technical depth is not without a good profounding reasoning with facts instead of blind faith and authority. You have to have facts where the person can solve the technical depth when you present the facts in a very easily way, where those have good reasoning enough, instead of using it as an abuse, to use it as a social status power, which we all can be childish on that presence. So on my workplace environment, we had one supervisor who just left now, some months or years ago, who had a good way of giving feedback to others with facts and reasoning. He handled the technical depth. He restricted power effectively by saying, his own mind, why, the reasoning, the facts of why it was wrong. And that is something, people were still engaging on him, because there was a reason behind it, that people could just adjust and amend to these needs. And we all want leaders who, yes, give accountability while giving freedom and giving good reasons, give good positive feedback, constructive feedback, or else people will be afraid to and be stuck and feel like they're in a hierarchy, even when we say it's a flat hierarchy. So we really have to mean it, to handle technical debt, and to also give the freedom to people the correct way. If you want to read more about this, you can see my blog for more details. Thanks for listening.